Hi everybody, it's Gio from Microsoft at Florida International University, and today is January 12th, 2014. It's 7:22 p.m. and I'm coming in a little late with the video today, but I apologize for that. And anyways, in this video, we're actually going to replicate what we did in the previous video with object families. So I'm going to show you how to do what an object family would do, in other words, how to replicate inheritance and polymorphism in Construct 2 without actually having the capability of object families. So this will be more appropriately for users who have the free version of Construct but want to do cool things such as create random objects, right? So what I have are my objects from my other example. So I have the red, I have the blue, and I have the green. I also have this giant text that tells me my score. So I've designed the layout in the same exact way. There's nothing to worry about in that aspect. Now on the event sheet, the code looks a lot different, doesn't it? So let's get into that, right? We have the score, which is going to replicate our score from our previous example, and it tells you how many points you have based on, clicking these objects. And there's the power num. So power num is a global number. Oh, yeah, it's a global variable which is going to hold a random value between 1 and 3 whenever I want to spawn an object. So I've done this, right? I say every random 1 to 5 seconds. So between every 1 and 5 seconds, I'm going to set this number to anything between 1 and 3. Now the random function returns a double, so you will get a decimal. So I do the round function. You can do the int function, but remember in programming, the int function or method, well, if you turn something into an integer, like if you cast it, it's going to truncate, and that pretty much means that if you have 2.5, it's going to become 2. There's no rounding. So if you round and it's 2.3, it'll bring you to 2, but if it's 2.8, it'll bring you to 3. And a round brings it to the nearest whole number. So I find this method to be a little more efficient because it is impossible to get a 3 in your possibilities if you use the int unless you get 3.00. That's the only possible way. Therefore, what you're going to notice is you may not get a lot of your probability that you'll be doing when you get the number 3. So I'll get back into it, and you may understand what I'm talking about a little later when I go through this code. So I've put that logic inside of colors, right? And actually, I should have put these inside of colors too. There's nothing stopping me from doing it. I just didn't realize it. So if you're worrying about the comments and grouping, then you may want to consider that. Now I'm going to move into the updates group. And in this group, we start off with saying every tick, set the score to whatever the value is. So this is exactly like the object families example. However, the difference comes in here, right? So now I check if power number is equal to 1, 2, or 3. So I could have put this inside of every tick, or I could have actually just put it in the colors subgroup, because if it's not checking every tick, it's gonna check this like by default whenever possible. So there's nothing to worry about, especially the way I've handled the logic. There's nothing to worry about. So you could actually take all of these and move them into here if you wanted to, and it wouldn't really make a difference. And I'm gonna just show you to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. No, I do not want to subgroup that. So I'm just going to reorder them quickly for convenience sake. Alright, and oh, there we go. Right, so now these guys are all in this group. And this is how I originally had it, but I moved it around because I was making sure this would work. So what I do now is, remember how in the object family example, we had one type of object, which was like colors. Now I have to check every individual object type. So I'm going to create a red, I'm going to create a blue, and I'm going to create a green. But I do this depending on whichever random number it was set to. So it's kind of like an enumeration in the sense that I'm checking if it's this number, or if it's this number or this number or this number, and I go within a range. So I go from 1 to 3, right? And I basically check 1, 2, and 3. And that is made possible because I'm using the round function, and that ideally is how it works. I'm going to post an example of this on the SkyDrive so that you can take a closer look at it and work with it if you don't completely understand everything. And now the updates are as simple as I wanted them to be, and then I also have input to account for. So now if I look at things, I'm dealing with my objects in my colors and my input, right? So now I have an untouched red, an untouched blue, and an untouched green. So this checks all of my cases, right, for possible input, and it will destroy that specific object and add the score to my general global variable score. So this replicates what we're going to do, what we did with object families, but as you can see, it's a lot more work. So I'm just going to show you how it works to make sure everything's running and good. You see? So now it's spawning random objects, and it's relatively random. I think objects are spawned with the same procedure, in my opinion. I don't know how else a construct would do it, but this is one way to do it. And yeah, I just hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.